Are you interested in learning more about body sugaring? Or are you a sugar professional who already knows how to sugar, but you are looking for better ways to kick up your business? Welcome to the SugarShow podcast. I'm your host, Shannon the Sugar Mama. And as a fellow Estie who learned to sugar 11 years ago and tripled my solo skincare business, I want to share not only my sugaring wisdom, but introduce you to my network of friends who are masters in their fields and want to help you expand your sugaring business. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back. This episode is actually one of my favorites. I know it's going to be because we have been talking before the show and I'm so inspired by everything that we've put together. So I'm excited to get down to it. This is Joelle Lee. Say hi, Joelle.
Hi.
Joelle is a dynamic speaker, educator, esthetician. She's going to blush now, I know. I mean, when I met her at the Atlanta trade show, Mabel Machabunga Butler introduced us, and she said, I don't know about this sugar stuff. And when we introduced you to it, you were like,
I know, because you guys put the sugar on me.
I know. And we'll post some pictures about that. But really, it was a way for us to really introduce you to our niche and share with you what sugar is all about. And when you and I got to talking about how you really change the mindset of an esthetician, I knew we had something here. And that's why I brought you on the Sugar Show today.
Well, I just appreciate you having me. I'm really excited.
I know, it's fun. So let's get down to it. So some people might not have ever met you, or they've seen your face in the Love to Sugar community. And I want to give them a snapshot of who is Joelle Lee. Let us have it here. Let's hear your story.
So this story, I'm going to keep it as short as I can. It's a 20-year-long story. So
I feel you.
I did start out, of course, as an esthetician, but my career actually started on the medical side. So it started working with plastic surgeons and dermatologists. And I actually started my career in Chicago. While I was working as a medical esthetician, as it was called at the time, I decided that I did want more extensive training in laser. So I did do just a focused part of my career on lasers only. I did specialize in treating skin of color for a very long time, but I also came out of that to still learn how to do all types of skin. So probably the first 10 years of my career, I spent a lot of time honing my craft.
Good.
And really focusing on my niche, what I wanted to specialize in, and just the direction that I wanted my career to go. While I was in Chicago, actually one of my first clients, even when I came out of school, was actually Michelle Obama, which was just crazy. You know, at that time,
You just get out of school, you're like, hey, Michelle, come on in. How did that happen?
That's what I'm saying. So I met her through the doctor that I was working with. And at that time, she was just Michelle with a funny last name. There was there was nothing attached to it. So I decided I want to develop a line of products. And it's at that time, while I'm in Chicago, that, of course, Barack Obama wins. And
your eyes got big. Like,
White House, so yes.
My little client that little last name is going to be something we all know.
Exactly. So, you know, I end up working at the White House, moving to DC. So I actually had to start all over. But when I got to DC, I was really thinking about this could be a perfect time for me to focus on the product line. And because I was starting my clients all over again.
Okay, wait, so back up. So your girl Michelle's like, I love you. You're my facial girl. You're moving with me to DC?
No, actually, that is not how it happened. So what happened was I did not see her for, I don't know, the whole time they were campaigning. It had to be like 2 years. I didn't see her at all. I did know the hairstylist and the personal trainer. I knew they were immediately going to move. They brought a lot of people from Chicago with them. The main thing was I wasn't going to have to be there every day. And would I be willing to relocate? And what happened was an esthetician came there. She really didn't like who they suggested. And so the stylist and her were like, we should just see. We should just
Let's just ask Joelle if she'd be interested.
So my bag was already packed when they called. I kept it.
Pick me.
I had it ready to go just in case. I was always ready. And so of course I relocate and all of that. I launched the products at that time, and the products actually become the focus. So I was still servicing a few days a week, but the product was something that I actually wanted to bring to different spas and medical spas, and I was successful with that. And I did that for 7 years. But what happened with the products was two things. I wasn't happy having a product line. Although I was having momentum and although I was having some level of success, I wasn't happy with it. And I also got married, had a child, like all these things started happening. And I really, really wanted to be home with my son, especially when I first had my son. So I changed my whole, game plan, what I was going to do. I said, I can always go back to servicing full time. And I did. I let the products go. And then I was focused again on the clients, but all along, I would say after about 10 years is when I started the teaching and educating. So I started doing the conferences and I started traveling. And one thing that people would always come to me about was treating skin of color. It was always a topic. Did I know how to do it? All of that. And also the motivational side or business side of the business. And some people just kept telling me, why don't you write a book? Why don't you write a book? So boom, I write the book on multicultural skin. Then I say, how is anybody going to know about my book? I wrote this book. Maybe people don't know me. They don't know I've written a book. So I decided I'm going to create a whole tour with the book, go city to city and promote my book and give the classes and do the training. And what happened was that is the piece I just completely fell in love with. So I can say that the teaching, the training, the speaking was when I felt the happiest. It was the most innate level of happiness, like I'm right where I'm supposed to be right now. And it wasn't that I didn't love the servicing anymore. It was just that I found a new love inside of aesthetics. So I decided that I was going to expand on that. And that has brought us to the moment that we're in now, where now I'm focused on the classes, the live classes, the online courses, the books, and all of that. So that's it in a nutshell.
So you really have had this like full, well-rounded career that you can tap into all these different parts and bring forward different education for each one of us.
But every part of my journey, every step was a preparation for the next thing. Mm-hmm. There are definitely things I didn't imagine when I got my license that happened. There were definitely things that weren't on the vision board. Okay. There were these things that go on. Life starts to happen. All these things are going on, right? So you make changes, you adjust, you turn right, you turn left, you figure it out. I didn't realize all that this career could bring someone. I didn't realize all the different ways you can go, all the different things you can be. You really don't have to limit yourself to a treatment room.
Right.
You really don't have to limit yourself to just, I'm going to do facials and that's it, or I'm just going to do sugaring or waxing, whatever that is going to be. And I think I pretty much tried to do everything I could with that esthetician license.
You maxed it out. Well, and I think there's something to be said for honoring the time that you're in. So there's one thing to feel, you said limited by being in the treatment room. And I think that depending on what phase you're in, be as amazing as you can be in that phase And then when you feel like you've kind of hit the limit that can provide, then think about going outside the treatment room. But really max out that time, that knowledge. Like you said, you spent 10 years honoring that treatment room and honoring your clients, whether their last name was Obama or Jones.
Right.
And you
And
really
the thing
maxed
was,
that out. And then when it hit the limit, you were like, okay, it's time to reach out from there. But
no, I just think you grow out of things.
For sure.
I think you can. And, you know, I realized if you do something 10 straight years on all these different levels, you do have a lot of knowledge to share. You do pick up a lot of wisdom and knowledge along the way, and not just in the treatment, but in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel that school just doesn't give you enough of either.
Right.
You don't get enough training,
mm-hmm.
and you don't get enough business training or business acumen.
Mm-hmm. So the key is to really grab your tool belt.
Tuesday, right. So the esthetician, she gets her license Tuesday. She opens her place on Friday. Okay. This is what happens. This is what happens. And she can't figure out why it's not working out. And that's why I say, you know, an esthetician's lifespan is usually 3 years or less, because she feels equipped for whatever reason, whatever the school told her, whatever she saw on social media. That, you know, I always say, they see the shiny chandelier in all the treatment rooms. They see the bedding and the decor. They're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my license. I'm going to open my own place. Mm-hmm. But they're not equipped, prepared to do it.
Mm-hmm. I think I would equate that to, you know, the construction worker that grabs the tool belt, using the tool belt mm-hmm. analogy, and like goes to the job site with no hammers, no screwdrivers, no tools. But he really feels smart. And he really feels driven. And then he looks down at his tool belt and he's like, ooh, kind of need a hammer to do that job.
But I'll be honest with you, Shannon, when I graduated from aesthetic school, I did not feel I could be alone somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't. I just knew that maybe it was because I was already training with a doctor that I knew I didn't know a lot. But now you want to talk about a person not having confidence in that moment. I really, really felt like I don't really know. Yeah. And I got to do a lot of services. So it wasn't until I was really comfortable and I really felt like there were some things that I mastered. And I'm not saying anyone has to wait 10 years. I'm not saying anyone, I'm not saying anyone, there's a time frame on when you want to do it or when you feel you've mastered whatever that specialty is that it's going to be. I'm just saying that I did not feel ready to open an aesthetic business as soon as I graduated.
Yeah. And really to be okay with being in the moment, learning as much as you possibly can about each area, grabbing tools along the way. Because if you really want to write a book and you really want to be a teacher, just give yourself a few years at least to grab the tools, to make some mistakes, to fail a little bit. It makes you talk a whole lot better when you've had a few failures, and your book is a little bit more compelling if you can relate to people, but you can only relate to people if you've been through it yourself.
Exactly. And I just don't, like I'm saying, and I don't, we don't have to stay on this long. If you're not ready, it's probably because you just haven't had enough training or experience.
Yeah.
And that's fine. If it's not working out.
Yeah.
And then they try to wing it. I'll just learn as I go. I'll just learn the business as I go. I'll just learn the actual technique as I go. Yeah. But I made a ton of mistakes. Mm-hmm. And before you start teaching a class, you should be able to even understand when someone else makes a mistake. I see girls that'll learn, take a class and then they're teaching it when they get back from the class.
I've seen that before.
You don't even know it yourself. And you're teaching it.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, you have not only written a book about multicultural skin treatments, you have also developed some courses, and one of which caught my eye, and it's Esthetician on a Mission. And I'm like, That sounds like me. I'm always on a mission.
Yes.
So we're going to spin this a little bit and we're going to work on Sugar Pro on a mission. And
Okay.
I'm going to give the audience just a moment to go grab a pen and a notebook if they've
Okay.
been on their walk, or hit pause and grab a pen and a notebook. And after this little break, we're going to come back and we're going to dive into how to actually price your services,
Yes.
especially now when we're reopening back up at the time of this recording, or any time that you're thinking about your treatment menu and how to price your services. We're going to dive into that. So after this little break, we are going to we're going to get right to it.
Okay.
Are you ready to learn more about sugar? Or are you a seasoned sugar pro who wants to take her skills and business to the next level? Head on over to love2sugar.com. That's love, the number 2, and sugar.com. It's your training and inspiration resource for all things sugar. Now, let's get back to the next half of the Sugar Show with Joelle Lee. Okay, welcome back. We're going to dive right into it. We've heard about Joelle's history. Now we are going to take all of her wisdom and we're going to pack it into a tight module. So I want you to think about, when you are working on your service, your treatment menu, how it is you go about doing that. And Joelle and I have had some great conversations about this, because I think sometimes folks, maybe marketing mentors, things like that, will say, oh, well, you need to know your cost per service, right? Mm-hmm. And you need to write down all of the expenses and then add a little bit more, and that's your cost.
Yes.
Not so. So this is going to take that cost per service conversation, and we're going to kind of blow it up a little bit and talk about the biggest picture. So yeah. Joelle, take it away. Talk about your kind of philosophy on really creating your treatment menu, and how a sugaring professional can go about pricing themselves without just, this is what it costs, this is what I'm going to charge, or this is what everyone else is charging.
So I think that before you even go into business or have your business, you really have to determine how much revenue you need to make or want to make. Mm-hmm. And that means after you've paid all your expenses, what do you actually want to pay yourself? And once you have that answer, you can make every other decision for your business. From where should it be located? What equipment? What kind of products am I going to purchase? Who is my target market? What is the demographic? You can make all of these decisions when you first decide that. Sometimes estheticians get the space, get their products, get what they need, and then they go, oops, I didn't even consider what, who lives here, what's going on. I need to make a certain amount of money. I've picked the wrong place, all of that. Once you determine that, that's how you determine how you're going to price your actual menu. First off, I really think a menu should be streamlined. I don't think there should be dozens of service options. I think sometimes estheticians make a menu for another esthetician, not really another client or customer. So it's always like, if an esthetician were to visit my website, if an esthetician were to read my menu, the language that they use, how they present their services, it's all directed to another esthetician and not the actual person who will be coming for the service. So I think that a client who potentially wants to make an appointment is looking for things more streamlined, things she understands, things that she gets right away, and straightforward with your costs. And when I mean pricing by time instead of service, is that you want to figure out, what do I want to make per hour? What do I want to make every 30 minutes? What do I want to make every minute that I'm actually servicing in a day? How many days do I want to work? How many hours a day do I want to work? I was an esthetician who, I wanted a 4-day work week. I felt like I can work really hard 4 days. I can pick a 5th day to work on my business, because sometimes you don't take enough time to work on your business because you're so busy working in your business. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then I would say, then I need just 2 days to do all the other things that I want to do and rejuvenate, regenerate, to do it all again. Okay, so what does that mean? That might mean I'm going to work 9 solid hours on those 4 days. This is what I want to make per hour to achieve whatever monetary goal that I have per day. So what that means is this: if I want to make $150 an hour, all of my services have to add up to that's what I make in that hour. So I was a specialist with facials, chemical peels, and laser treatments. I'm going to make sure that my facial minimum is $150 minimum. Okay. Any other facial with all the things else you add on and all of that, they know that the base price when they show up is $150 for 1 hour. Now you can take other services and break them down. Like I said, my chemical peel service was $150. That was with a full facial. That's 1 hour. But then I had a 30-minute facial. That was $70. A 30-minute chemical peel facial. That's $75. So I'm still making my $150 an hour. And then I had a 15-minute express peel service. That's $50. That's every 15 minutes. So then I'm making $200 an hour. But it's very important that you look at your menu and you say, yes, after I've done this service and I've paid those expenses, the rent, the lights, the product, the retail, all of that, am I paying myself what I need to pay myself to meet my monetary goals?
I love that you are putting yourself first and saying, hey, I need to make this. This is how much it costs. That's how I'm going to put together my program. Not, well, this is how much it costs. This is what everyone else charges. So I'll make whatever's left.
And I think that, again, we go in winging it. So if I'm winging it, I go, who's charging? What are they charging for a facial across the street? What are they charging for a facial down the street? Okay, I'm just going to put that. Not even knowing what that facial includes, how they do it, what's the value in it. Because if you want to charge a premium, you may have to create or make your services more premium, but that's going to cost money. Yeah. Again, it's going to cost you more to make more, but you have to position yourself in a place where you can do both. But you can't be in an area with people that make 30, 40,000 and you want to make 100,000. It's not going to work.
Okay. I want you to really hone in on that again, because I think you kind of threw that out there.
Okay.
But I think that it's really, really important that people re-listen to this.
Okay.
If you are trying to make $150,000 a year,
where they make
Yes, do not place your treatment room, or your business in a city or a town that can only afford $20 Brazilians.
Whatever you and your clients should at a minimum make what you make.
Yes. And if that means you got to move your practice,
right? So
if it means you got to move your practice, you need to think about it. But if it means you can't, say you live in somewhere, I have a really beautiful friend, and she lives in Alvin, Texas, in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So her clientele can't afford $200 a facial or $90 for a Brazilian, right? Okay, but then you need to be straight with yourself and say, okay, what is the market bearing? Number one. Number two, how can I build that ticket so that they are spending a little bit more with me, be it through retail or maybe some specials that you run. And we're going to talk about specials in a moment. She gave me the eye. But at the end of the day, we need to really be mindful of, are we really asking too much of the area that we're in? So if your area, if they're low income, they're not going to be able to afford your $150,000 lifestyle. Don't kid yourself.
I always position my business. You want to know how I found wherever I was going to be? I said, what is the wealthiest zip code? Even when I went to DC, I said, what is the wealthiest zip code? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean you're going to the wealthiest, but you're going to get a list of the top 5 zip codes, right? Where people have disposable income. Why even position yourself somewhere where this can't be a lifestyle for clients? Mm-hmm. Because this is what I do know. The person making $40,000, the person making $60,000, she's going to travel to me. to this place where they make a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to have the mindset that it probably costs more to go there because of where she's located.
And it's better.
That's what I'm
Yeah. People are willing to pay for it.
I can't say enough. And some estheticians will say, well, there has to be estheticians in these other areas. And I'm saying this. Ask yourself what you want. If you want to, if where you are, you're happy, all your needs are met, you're like, I couldn't ask for anything more, stick with it. But I'm saying that if you say, I want more, I want to make more, I want to live better, I want more things, all of that, what is your clientele? Where are you located? What is the demographic of that? I wanted to expose myself and my business to whatever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew the quickest way to get there was to position myself where they were.
Okay, so let's address those folks that have a clientele already that are, they've got a beautiful clientele. They're in maybe a lower income area, or maybe they're only charging, $30 for Brazilian, $40 for Brazilian. I know, right? What do you say when that person, especially,
But that person is still having to work really hard. So even if you tell me you're in a place like that and you're charging $30, you still have to do a tremendous amount of volume to still cover costs, meet your goals, and pay yourself a nice salary.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be meeting the needs of that community, but I'm pretty sure you're pretty tapped out doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really take a look at, so you have numbers then. If you were in the audience and you're like, yeah, I've got this really great clientele, but I don't charge them much. What I want you to do is take a day for yourself and do a cost per service worksheet and ask yourself, I think you'll be shocked to know the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You might actually be working for free. At the end of the day, if you're not free,
to me, that's a Groupon price.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know you don't make money on Groupon. So what I'm saying is this. If you're already charging that low, you might be making $10 per client. And you're like, I got to do 20 people, a day, or I got to just work so hard. And I really stress, how can you work smarter instead of harder? For example, even with my chemical peels, I didn't want to be stuck doing the peels for 1 hour. I didn't want to change the linen every time. I didn't want to worry about the cost of that. I didn't want all these products being used during every service, so there's more cost to product. So I said, listen, let's do a 30-minute facial for $75. Let's do a 30-minute peel or a 15-minute peel in less time, less product, less time, less labor for me, but making more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about discounts, because you and I both pound it into our students, like, do not discount, do not discount. And this kind of is, speaking to not only the girl that is, or the guy that is charging, really low prices for their sugaring, but really the person that is feeling like they've got to figure out a way to stimulate business. And what we really actually like, and you and I talked about this before the show, is the idea of specials. And with sugaring, we can do specials so easily because what is consistent is our sugar. Our sugar is, they come to us for sugar, but what's the special? So talk a little bit about your idea on specials.
So one thing about specials is I always talk to estheticians about, I really think we're the only industry that you create a special with a current menu. In every other industry, especially the restaurant business, a special usually is not on the menu. It has a special price and it's a special product or food or whatever that you're there for. It's a limited time. You can only get it now. Well, if you don't take advantage today, you miss the special. I think the mistake a lot of STs make is they make all their current services specials or discounts, which devalues them. Okay. And so if I see you running specials all the time on your current menu, you're telling me that the services are not worth what the current pricing is.
Mm-hmm.
And I would much rather see you keep your services the same price all the time, and then seasonally you can run a special. So for example, for my facials, I did everything seasonally. I made a seasonal summer, a fall, winter, spring facial. That was the special. It was a limited time. You only saw it on my menu at that time. But any other thing on my menu, they paid full price for.
Absolutely. So when I go to a restaurant, I look at the menu and I'm like, ooh, okay, this looks good and this looks good. And I'm going to have that. And I look at the server and I'm like, so what's on special today? What do you have? And it's something that's not on the list.
Right.
It's something that's like kind of a cool added value. And you can say, ooh, I really want the prime rib, or, ooh, that soup is on special today, right? Well, sugar professionals, what about taking this to your menu and saying, okay, here's what it is to sugar. And then the special this month is an ingrown treatment.
Right.
Or, something that isn't necessarily what they're always
or
used
something
to.
else you want to kind of dive into.
Yes.
Or do more of as an add-on service, but you haven't pushed it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would, if there's something you're learning, like I remember when I first got the hydrofacial machine, I was like, I'm running a special. I have to practice. I'm going to hone, and I made it clear. This is for a limited time. Once I figure this out, it's going to be regular price, right? So that's the time I would run a special on something that's going to be on my menu.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you have add-ons or other just things you want to add to sugaring that you don't promote a lot. Those can be centered around specials. So I would recommend that, or even you don't always have to make services specials. You can make products special. Yeah. And I say, why can't this month with every visit, you're going to get a trial size of this for free. So you don't always have to make it about your menu. Use your retail. Use your retail in the special so that they will want to come back and buy more retail.
Absolutely. Great point. I love using travel sizes bundled together of what you want them to use. Mm-hmm. Like we have a travel size scrub and lotion for bikinis that I love. Slam dunk. Every time they come back in, they buy the full size. Because it wasn't a discount on the full size. It was a special to try it out.
Exactly.
Right? So now they want to buy the full size one, and it's $29 for a sugar scrub. No problem, right? Yeah. And don't assume that your clients don't have any money. Even if you live in a smaller area, lashes are a perfect example. In the tough times, people are not getting rid of their lashes. They spend a lot of money on these people got money on stuff they want.
I tell estheticians, you've got to stop counting people's money.
Yes.
This is how I look at it. If you call on the phone, go online, make an appointment, turn the key in your car, drive to my establishment, come inside for a service, you want to buy. Mm-hmm. You want to buy. Let me help you. Let me help you buy.
Yep.
And it's really about priority.
Mm-hmm.
People put their money where their priorities are. And whatever that they want, they will find the money to get it.
Yeah.
You've got to stop being concerned with their money. If you're working somewhere or you work alone as a solo Esty and all of your clients are saying, I don't have it, or you have a special, or this and that, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah. Because
you have to say, I'm worth this, and I have to go somewhere where they think so too. I don't think you should customize your business and customize your pricing, customize your menu for a market that isn't catering to you, your worth, your value, anything. You should not settle for less, dummy down and do anything. You should put yourself in a better location with a better target market and a better clientele so that you can get what you deserve.
Because you deserve it.
Exactly.
And they deserve it. And they deserve you. Mm-hmm. And they deserve the best you. the you that's got the tool belt with all of the tools. So if you don't have the tools
and
yet,
you can
get them.
afford all the tools.
Yes.
I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm not making enough money. I don't have I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. Then you have to get somewhere where you can charge enough to have all of that.
Yes. Yes.
And you won't have to work as hard.
I love it. I love it. Estheticians, sugaring professionals especially, now is the time. Now is the time to analyze what it is you're doing and where it is you're going. What it is you're doing and what it is you deserve. And a lot of times we have to break that down for ourselves and say, instead of saying, oh, well, I'm just going to grind away at this because I'm making a lot of money on the piece of paper. When you pull it all away, you're working for free. We deserve this. We've worked hard at our craft. Let's reflect our menu and our services to really show that. So what I want you to do, audience, is take a moment, because that was a lot of really cool nuggets of wisdom from Joelle. And I want you to follow the links that are in the show notes, because she has a really beautiful pricing webinar. Tell them a little bit about your pricing webinar and where they can find that.
So I have on my website, I have free webinars, and one of them is the pricing by time and not service. So anytime they visit my website at joellelee.com, they will see all the free webinars.
So I'm going to put that directly in the show notes. So you could just click that button and get directly to that webinar and watch more from Joelle. And really, sugaring professionals, now is the time, because clients are needing hair removal. They are wanting you to be the best at what you do. You have chosen to sugar. You know it's the best way of hair removal. Now is the time to really craft your treatment menu and to really say to yourself, you know what? I'm setting myself apart. I've learned how to sugar. I am going to provide this for my community. I am going to make a good amount of money doing it because I deserve that. And so do they. And I have to have a plan. So here you go. Here's your plan. And Joelle is ready to help you figure it out. So Joelle, thank you so much for being a part of our Sugar Show.
Thank you. I had a wonderful time.
Girl, we could talk for hours. And I see a masterclass in our future, girl.
There's so many things we could talk about.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And sugaring professionals and those of you that are wondering if you should sugar, this is some good stuff. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. For more information, visit us at www.love2sugar.com or our Facebook page, Love to Sugar, where our community has come together to help you be a better sugaring professional. Cheers to your sweet success.